Tiki and Tierney, congrats. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fine. I'm very elated, happy, and can't wait. I'm on my way up to New York anyway to do the press conference with him.
Uh-huh. He is the one thing that jumped out to me, Ken, and I was actually in the car driving to do a basketball game last night, and I heard Junior's press conference or conversation on MLB Network Live, and what we just played coming back from the break, I actually heard that in real time. And I was thinking to myself, I say, man, if I'm Ken Griffey Senior, all the things that you're proud about, he's a good dad and a good father, all that stuff. But pertaining to baseball, what would make me most proud if I'm you, he's never been implicated in any whispers, any nonsense, any innuendo about steroids. Your son is the one player who seems to be above all of this.
Yeah, well, that's the contingency. I'll tell you what, my youngest son, Craig, and Junior, I'll give you a little story on that because it's funny because of how everything transpired. Craig played for the University of Ohio State football, and he was a walk-on. He played, and his biggest thing was to lift weights. And in the off season, he wanted Junior to go lift weights with him, and they went into the weight room and they started lifting. And I know Tiki and Rhonda will know this perfectly about the pump you get when you start lifting weights.
Oh, yeah, especially when you do it with someone else and they push you.
And that's it. And my son Craig was pushing Junior, and he did not like that pump. He didn't think he'd ever swing a bat again, so he left the gym, and he never went back. But he was always in that area where we weren't allowed to lift weights when I came through. So
Yeah.
our weight room was probably 2 dumbbells. That was about it. So, but now, you look at the weight rooms now, they're outclassed. I mean, they're high class.
Yeah, back in the day, you just did a beach workout, do some curls and push-ups, and you're good to go.
And Ken, the dumbbell was
Exactly.
the dumbbell was right next to the ashtray.
That's it. Like I said, our dumbbell was laying in the middle of the floor, so nobody picked it up unless you were hurt.
Ken, what was the first thing you said to your son when you heard the news and you finally got a chance to reach out to him?
I congratulate him. I said, job well done. I said, I actually, I used to tease him all the time. And the first thing I said to him, I said, you got all the home runs. I had all the rings. But now I said, you got the big one. So that's most important. That trumps my 2 or my 3 rings when I was in the World Series. But I know he'd give that up to get World Series. But at the same time, he did an outstanding job to get into the Hall of Fame.
Now, Ken, sorry.
Go ahead, T.
Now, Ken, you had Junior when you were young. You were 19 years old.
Yeah.
And
right.
How soon after his birth did he start following in your footsteps and wanting to be like Dad? You know what I mean? Because I had my kids when I was a little bit older. I'd retired from the game, but they still watched Uncle Rondé a little bit, but they didn't get a chance to watch me. How soon until he started saying, I want to be like Dad? And ultimately, that came to fruition.
Well, it wasn't until he was really, when he was playing at 7, 8, and 9 years old, he was always playing with kids older than him in terms of baseball. But it wasn't until he was around 12 or 13, when he made the statement. He said, I want to be a Major League Baseball player. And that's when we really started to concentrate on what we needed to do or how we're going to go about doing this to get you at a level that you'll be ready. Physically, the physical talent was always there. Hitting, running, throwing, and all that. To me, the most important thing was just getting mentally prepared because, as you know, we play, baseball is played almost every day. Every once in a while you have an off day on Monday or Thursday or something like that, but we play every day, day in and day out, and you have to be at a high level all the time. And to me, the mental outlook was what was important to really set into him, to let him know that you can't go 0 for 1. 3 for 4 one day and then the next 4 days over. You got to be able to a high level where you can do this consistently day in and day out, and that's what baseball's about: consistency. Day in, day out, every day, doing the same thing and being positive about what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder than it looks, boy. Getting in there 60 feet, 6 inches away from 98-mile-per-hour cheese, exploding sliders, sinking changeups. It ain't fun, as you know. Ken, let me ask you this. The way the game has gone now, the specialization of sport, it seems like kids don't play all 3 or 4 sports the way they used to in the 70s and the 80s. When Junior was in 7th grade and 8th grade, was he playing hoops and football, or was it just baseball?
No, he played a little bit of basketball. He really played football up until his junior year in high school. They won the state championship his junior year. He was a wide receiver. He was a pretty good little wide receiver. He can run. He ran back a couple punt returns.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah,
Stunning.
He was that guy.
Yeah. So that's what happened there. So those things. Wait a minute.
Who's that? Johnny Bench calling about the big red machine? Talking to Ken Griffey Senior,
That's
just getting
my
his
wife's
phone.
It went off right there next
All good.
to me. But he was, he didn't say anything until his senior year, when he just said, "Dad, I'm not playing football or nothing. I'm just concentrating on baseball, and that's what I want to do. I want to be a baseball player."
Ken, of all the great things, the great accomplishments that he had, some of the great plays, what are you most proud of about his career?
The consistency of it. I mean, what I'm proud of more is the last 5 or 6 years where he struggled with injury. And he played a lot under duress, in terms of injuries. I mean, his hamstrings, his groin, and all that. And he was still able to get to 600 home runs. And that right there, those last 5 years were really important for him.
Yeah, I've done some projections here, and I could still, when I see him in a Reds uniform and I see him turning around third base, I think it was a spring training game, one of the first times where, his knee went. And
it was in Orlando.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it was in Orlando. And you just know that he probably left, well over 100 bombs and who knows, 500 or 600 ribbies on the table. Let me ask you this, in all humility, Ken, if your son would have stayed healthy or healthier, does he go down as the best player of all time?
That's 20/20 hindsight. You can say that, but like I said, all the injuries, you look at all the things he went through, and like I said, to me, he did the best he could, and he was just being himself, playing the game as hard as he could.
Yeah.
And that's what you look at. But, 20/20 hindsight, I can say he would probably have pretty close to 900 home runs.